Hello! Welcome to Creative Bear Den. I'm your host, Emma, and today we're going to be putting together this robin craft. And I'm so excited to share this with you because this is based off of one of the first birds I've ever created. If you'd like to also join in this creative adventure, please check out creativebearden.com. You'll find this craft there. Let's get into the video. We are going to be using folk art paint in matte, and we're going to be using the colors titanium white, ink spot, medium yellow, and apple red to mix all our colors today. This project is going to come with a bunch of smaller pieces, so I recommend you put those all in a little tray and set them off to the side to handle later after you get all of the bigger pieces together. To adhere this together, we're going to be using 3M tape, which is already applied to the back of your project when you get it. This stuff is really great. So we are going to start with the background, and the background comes with an outline of the bird on it, so you know where to put the bird when you stick it on. And we're first going to be using some blue, white, and yellow to mix our colors. So I want the background of this to be like a robin egg shell blue because I think that blue will make the bird stand out quite a bit. So we're going to use quite a bit of white, and then we're going to slowly mix in blue until we get that light blue color that we're going for. And then we also have yellow because I feel like the robin eggshells are a little bit teal and less like a perfect sky blue. So you can slowly add in a little bit of yellow until you get a teal color that you like. Once you have the color that you like, we're going to go ahead and paint the background of this craft. There will be an outline of the bird on the background, and we're going to paint around that and as well into the lines a little bit. This is just in case we accidentally place the bird down wrong later. Now before we move on, we're going to add a little fun detail. We're just going to get a lighter white, so you can add some white to the blue or just use white, water it down a little bit, and use a brush to apply some speckles onto it. So you can do this by hand, or you can do the method where you put the paint on the brush and you use your thumb across it and it'll send the paint flying out. I'm also going to do this with a dark blue, and this will just add some fun speckling to it. Now let's paint the bird. Don't forget to dust off all of your pieces just in case there's any dust left on them. We are going to start with the upper chest of the bird, and we're going to get some of that red and some of that yellow, and we're going to paint a nice like reddish orange color for the bird's chest. If you're unfamiliar with mixing an orange, I'd recommend starting with some yellow and then going in with red and slowly adding red, since red tends to be overpowering in paints. I'd also recommend mixing more than you think you need because I tend to run out when I'm painting and I never follow this rule. But hey, sometimes making those mistakes makes your painting more interesting. So I ended up running out of paint, and so I made a little bit more of a lighter orange color and added that to the front of the chest. And it added a little bit of dimension in the bird, like there's light shining down from somewhere onto it. So consider this when you're painting it. Doesn't have to be a perfect flat color either. Add a little dimension, add texture, whatever feels best to you. Now let's start on the lower chest of the bird. We are going to be painting this kind of a light tealish gray color. And this is gonna kind of be just to tone down the white color of the bird. So we're gonna use mostly white, add a little bit of blue, mix a little yellow, just tiny bits at a time. And then I even add just a hint of red to really mix those colors together and make it more of a gray rather than the teal. And don't forget to mix a lot of this color. I had to do 2 layers of paint just because the lighter color was showing the wood through. So just keep that in mind when you're creating. Now we're going to work on the main body of the bird. Now this has 2 spots that we have to paint 2 different colors. We have the other part of the lower chest and then the back of the bird. So the lower part of the chest, we're basically going to use the same color we used for the other lower part of the chest, the light grayish teal color, but we're going to add a little white. And I'm doing this because early on the bird I added more orange to create dimension, so I'm going to make it a little lighter to create dimension here as well. Feel free to do whatever matches your style here. Now we're going to work on the back of the bird. This color is going to be a brown or a gray or just kind of a dark purple, whatever suits the colors you're going for. To make this color, we're going to use red, yellow, and blue. So we're going to mix red and yellow together first to create an orange like we did for the upper chest. And then we're going to slowly mix in a blue until we get a brown color. Now I struggled with what brown I wanted, and I wanted a darker brown to really highlight the vibrant chest, the vibrant red chest that we created. So I went with more of a purpley dark brown. I mixed more red and more blue rather than adding more red and yellow. So I still used all colors, I just used less yellow in the process of making the brown that I wanted to use. If you're struggling making a brown, you can also use black instead of blue to create a brown. Now let's work on the border of the craft. This I decided to paint a white, almost like the gray teal that we did earlier for the lower chest, but still a little bit more white. I do think that with the colors we've done, it would also look really great in the brown we used for the back of the bird. I think that would make it less modern, but more homey. Once you've got those pieces painted, set them aside and look, our bird is slowly coming together. But we are going to add the finishing touches. And one way we can do that is by using a Sharpie marker, brown or black, and going around the edges. This is going to really make it pristine and like you bought it at a shop somewhere, because the edges will be nice and crisp and clean. And don't forget to go around the inside of the frame. This is something I almost forgot, and I was like, that doesn't look as nice as the rest, so don't forget that. Now let's work on all those little pieces that we set aside earlier. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm just laying them out so I kind of remember which pieces go where and what colors I need to paint all of them. So let's start working on all the pieces we're going to be painting white. And we're going to be painting the same grayish teal white that we did before. And we are going to be painting the little hair piece part of the bird and then also the chest pieces. And as you can see, I accidentally painted the lower pieces white as well. I don't know what I was thinking, but I ended up painting them white. But those are actually going to be red later on. And please set these pieces off to the side just so you don't accidentally drop them onto your bird and get the color all over the areas you already painted. And then now we're going to start working on the red pieces of the bird. And we're going to try to mix that same orangish red that we did earlier for the upper chest of the bird. And then for the little cheek, we're going to make rosy cheeks. So I'm just going to add a little bit more red to the orange and paint it basically red. Now let's mix the final color that we need, which is the same brown that we used for the back portion of the bird. Now, to keep from continuing to mix these colors, you can always paint these small pieces along with. I think it's just easier to see them on the bird and paint them accordingly so you don't accidentally paint the wrong piece the wrong color. So we are going to be painting the beak, the little circle for the eye, and then the feet of the bird. And don't forget to go around the little pieces with your Sharpie. It's a bit tedious, but it will look nice in the end. And now we're finally there. It's time to assemble the project. Now remember, this has 3M tape on the back if you choose that option. There's also the option for glue, but I recommend going with the 3M tape option because literally you just have to peel off each piece and stick it down. Now, how I do this is I kind of go right over the craft and try to align it with my fingers by pressing my fingers along the edges of it to try to align it as best as I can. Now, 3M tape is very sticky, and so once you place it down and start pressing, it's not really gonna come off. Trust me, I tried. So if you're unsure of that option, going with putting it together with glue might be the way for you. That way you have a little leeway when you stick it down. You can still push it back and forth a little bit. Now let's take all the little pieces off again, and we are going to start pressing down with the 3M tape the bird. I have to come up with a better way to say that. Alright, now that we just have the main body of the bird, we can peel that 3M tape off. Mine ripped a couple times, but it was pretty easy to just find another spot and start peeling. And then we can press that down. Now, I'm going to make sure you align it as best as you can with the outline on the backboard. Just do your best with this, and that is the reason why we painted a little over it earlier, just in case we don't align it correctly. And then we're going to do the same with the upper chest and the lower chest. we're going to peel the 3M tape off and press it down. And these ones you're just going to line up with the edge of the bird. Just line it up, the beak with the beak, and then you're going to line up the bottom piece with the edge, but also the upper part of the chest. This is why I recommend putting the upper part of the chest on first before the lower part. And lastly, we have to put on the small little tedious pieces. And when I took these off, I took them off systematically so I knew which ones would go where. If you are struggling with which ones go where, you can always set them onto the bird before you peel the tape off. So just grab the piece you need, peel the tape off, and press it down for a few seconds. And that is it. Once you press down that last piece, it is basically ready to hang if you have a nail on the wall somewhere to hang it. Don't forget that you can find this craft available on creativebearden.com. And if you put this together, I would love to know what it looks like. Tag us in your Instagram story. Send us a picture in the email. I don't care. I want to see what you come up with. And let us know what you think in the comments below. Did you enjoy the craft? Do you want to see more? We'd love to know. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you don't miss our next upload. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!